Hello everybody, this is Monara, an English trainer. Today in this video we're going to be talking about a few different ways in which you can sound more British, and everything about talking about is pronunciation. And I think there are a few different things we can do to just sound a little bit more British faster, to make it happen faster. We need to focus on a few different things actually. Now, these kind of 4 things that I'm gonna tell you today, I'm not going to have all the things, just a few little words for you to practice and to think about when you try to sound a bit more British. The first thing I'd like to talk to you about is when we should and shouldn't use the letter or the sound or R. So first of all, Americans, they pronounce the R, they have a rhotic R. But in British English, it's a little bit complicated. So when the word ends with R, we do not pronounce it better. We use the schwa sound. But in American, they would say better, just at the end. Now British English, we pronounce it as an better. So a few more words. We have weather, another schwa at the end because it's sound, ends with sound. And also if you have words that simply ends with R, for example, here, that sound at the end is actually diphthong. Ear. So, and we'll talk about that in another video. So when do you pronounce the R in the British English? Well, we only pronounce the R when it pays or comes before a vowel sound. For example, listen to the sentence. I'm going to drive around the area in my car. I'm going to drive around the area in my car. So we pronounce the R in the words like area, drive, because there is a vowel after the R, but the word car has no vowel after it. So generally that's what happens. We also have something relating to connecting speech and pronunciation, and this is called the intrusive R or the linking R. Now this is when we join R with an R. I'm not going to talk about this detailed in a video because it needs a lot of time. But, for example, if I was asking a friend where he is, instead of saying, where are you? Where are you? What I would do is I will link with an R. I will say, where are you? Where are you? And this is because we're lazy. We need to join two R together and make the sound more smooth and just easier to come out of the mouth. That's what we call the intrusive R or the linking R. The next tip that I want to give you is to drop your T sometimes. And why sometimes? Why can't I say bottle of water? Well, the reason of why is because really that's kind of use of Cockney accents. Generally, if you want to have that kind of static sound in British accent, sounds so British. So if you want kind of a normal sound accent, generally we drop T's sometimes. Like in the word it, we say it was good. So I give you more examples. I could say, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Instead of saying, where is it? Now we can do that, it's totally correct. But when we pronounce the T, we can do either. Just I take some times to drop the T to sound a little bit more British. One more, I could say to my friends, I see more a little bit later. So pronouncing the T in little, but because bit, is it really that much of an important word in that sentence? It's kind of what we call a function word. We drop it a little bit later to make it easier, quicker and more British. So continuing on, the last thing I want to tell you, two sounds that I think very important to British English. Now, there are lots of important sounds you need to know in British English, but there are kind of a particular good to know. And hopefully this will give you good ideas. So first of all, the O sound. This sound would be in words like a lot, problem, what, forgot. So it's O sound. When we're going to make the shape of our mouth like like a fish, you know. The reason why this is important because, for example, Americans, a lot of non-natives learn to pronounce it in the American way, which would be for example, problem, not instead of problem, okay, it's bra. So we say all of this like sound. It would be sound if you want to sound more British. For example, in a sentence, what's the problem? What's the problem? And finally, the other sound, which I think is quite important, is the sound. For example, in a word like work or words. I want to wear a purple shirt on Thursday. I want to wear a purple shirt on Thursday. And in American, we would pronounce like purple shirt. We want it to be like a sound if we want that more British. Most of the students find that sound difficult. It's totally fine. Now you could just only practice a lot. Hopefully those tips will get you start to practice British accent more. Thank you for watching and see you in another video.